Hey everybody, it's Wednesday and we're back online and I am back at home, still home this week. Kind of quarantining this week just as a kind of safety precaution. If you did not hear, my mom tested positive for COVID. She's doing okay, she's symptom free, but I'm staying home this week, kind of as a safety precaution. We're finishing up the Advent series. We will be on Zoom at 6:45 tonight and 12:15 on Sunday. That schedule has been the same for the last few weeks, and we'll stay that way until we get into the new year, and then we'll let you know what we're doing then. Speaking of schedule, Monday night we will not be going to Madison Avenue. Talked to Pastor Simon, and um, just with so much going on with COVID and all of those things, they are offered to take this month again. They'll cover Monday, so we'll pick back up in January. Fourth and final week of Advent again, not exactly the same for everybody. We studied the four words: hope, peace, joy, and love is this week, the last week. And again, it's not exactly the same for everybody. And there's different terms for different candles. The first week, hope, is also called the shepherd's candle. They saw the star and that brought them hope. So we're focusing more on the words. And again, the Bible Project video, if you just search the Bible Project and love for this week, you can watch that video. Again, they're all very short, 3 or 4 minutes long. And you can find that on YouTube or on their website. Watch that video along with this, and you're covered. So, fourth and final week, we're talking about love this week and how that ties in. So, we all know the word love. We all spend an entire day celebrating love. That's on February 14th, right? St. Valentine's. And if you didn't know that story, we had this lesson a while back, kind of touched on that again. Back in 496, the year 496, St. Valentine was martyred, killed for marrying persecuted Christians. Kind of ties into what we've been talking about, the early church, Paul, Timothy in the first century. This was the 5th century, being persecuted Christians with the early church. Similar thing for St. Valentine. He was persecuted for marrying persecuted Christians. And then there's also the story that before he was killed, he was in prison and he prayed for the daughter of the jailer and she was healed. And before he was executed, he wrote a letter to the girl and signed it, My Valentine. So there we go. A little background history story for you on Valentine's Day. So why does this matter? We can see the parallels of St. Valentine to what St. Valentine did in his life to what God did for us. So the question is, what is love? It is sacrifice. It is it's what it breaks down to. St. Valentine sacrificed his freedom by marrying these persecuted Christians. He went to prison. He sacrificed his integrity and his reputation by having the faith to pray for the daughter of the jailer. And he sacrificed his life by being obedient to God. So speaking of God, where does all this tie in? And what does the word love actually mean? So we're going to get into the kind of specifics of that. This is where the Bible Project video comes in. If you want to watch that, you can. Again, it's very short, 3.5, 4 minutes at the most. But they talk about in that video, the first thing they talk about is the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Also known as love God and love your neighbor as yourself. Love God, love others, right? We talk when again, there's so many different ways and meanings of the word love. Like I love my mom, I love my dad, I also love pizza, thing, right? We throw that word around a lot. Oh, I love that so much. Right? Do we really love it? It's a different kind of love, right? And again, as we see in all these videos, different languages, different words, very many different meanings. So meanings, it starts off with Hebrew, and they talked about that, ahava, and then also another translation. Again, the Bible was translated from other languages, Aramaic. It was rachma, and then we are familiar with this word. Jesus' followers used the Greek word, which you probably heard, agape, right? So that's the love they speak of. And the teachings of Jesus redefine this concept of love. So from a Christian perspective, Christian love, it was redefined. And Jesus' followers passed this on. Remember, Jesus was asked, what's the most important commandment? He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, but also love your neighbor as yourself. Again, love God, love others. Very simple thing. And as asked which was more important, and he says both, right? Basically the same. To Jesus, it's two sides of the same coin, right? It's the same thing. Your love for God will be expressed by how you love people, right? Jesus, love is an action. Okay, it's not just something that happens to you, like you fall in love or you love pizza, right? Like I said, you love somebody else. Love is an action, and that's what Jesus was trying to say. Seeking the well-being for others, not just for yourself. So others who cannot give you anything in return. Okay, this reflects the heart of God and how well you treat other people, and especially people that you can't stand. How do you treat your enemies? As Jesus say, love your enemies, right? This imitates the love of God. Jesus did all this in very practical ways. He lived this out, right? He showed love for the forgotten ones. He showed love for the poor and hurting and for the sick, right? Jesus made himself an enemy um, of the people in a sense, and instead of attacking them, he allowed them to kill him. Right? He died for his enemies, and it was the power of God's love that was revealed in Jesus's life and in his death and in his resurrection. And we're going to talk more about that in a minute. And you've heard this the verse, while we were still sinners, God died for us. And in 1 John 4:9, actually verses 8, 9, 10, all about love. If you look those up, 1 John 4, verse 9 says, God's own love, God's own agape was sending his only son to die for us. Okay. That's how God loved us. And that's how we should love others. Christian love, and in this Bible Project video, the ending, they kind of summarize it. Christian love is that we trust that at the center of the universe is a God who is overflowing with love. And the purpose of human existence is to receive that love from God and Jesus and then give that back out to others. Okay. So that's a lot of what was in the video. So pick back up with what we were just talking about before. And we talk about St. Valentine, and and then we all focus on the verse. We all know the verse, John 3:16. God so loved the world that he gave his only son. Whoever believes in him shall not perish, have everlasting. Right. So the three main points here on this are and we're talking about love is sacrifice. Right. If you really think about that, it's true when you're talking about with other people. Okay. God sacrificed his son in the very first verse, beginning of that verse. God loved the world so much, he gave his only son. Fathers do you know that would give up their only son so somebody else could live, right? Can you even imagine like how difficult that is? Think about something that you think right now, I can't live without. Now imagine giving that something away to somebody that you don't even know. That is sacrifice. That is love. Point two is that God sacrificed control. What does that mean? He created the whole universe, everything in it, the hills and the valleys, the planets, the cute little puppies, and awesome things like Skyline Chili, right? Um, if he really wanted to, he could have accomplished everything from heaven, right? But he sacrificed control. He could have snapped his fingers, made us believe in him. But that's not love if he forced somebody to do something, right? That's control. He gave up that control. St. Valentine didn't have to go to marry these persecuted Christians. St. Valentine didn't have to pray for that daughter. Uh, and God didn't have to come to earth. He didn't have to send his son to earth in human form. He didn't have to wait 30 years before he started his ministry. He didn't have to go through 3 years of persecution and people um, hating him and then die a painful death um, to beat sin. All right. Um, but he could have found another way to do all that, right? I mean, he's God. He could have just, had control and controlled us, do what we wanted. But he sent his one and only son and sacrificed him. right? So God gave up, sacrificed control. And God sacrificed time from the creation of the universe to the Garden of Eden, to Adam and Eve messing up, to all of the events of the Old Testament, to Jesus and the church as we know it today. God sacrificed a lot of time. Again, he could have snapped his finger and done all this in like 2 minutes, right? How do you know somebody really loves you, right? Is it because they give you flowers and chocolate on Valentine's Day? Well, that's nice, right? They give you a present on Valentine's Day or maybe your birthday, or they give you a greeting card that has a whole bunch of words that they wouldn't have said themselves, but it sounds really good, right? No, somebody loves you when they're really care for you. They give you their time. Right? When you're not feeling well, when you're sad, when you're depressed, they're there with you. Right? They spend time with you. It's the greatest gift that you can give somebody is your time. It, and Jesus didn't just heal people one day a year. We don't just love somebody on February 14th. He didn't just teach one day of the year. He sacrificed. He gave, and God gave um, life, gave his control, gave up his time, and that is what love is sacrificing um, somebody else, somebody that you don't know, somebody that you don't like in some cases. Okay. So we'll really talk about love. That is love. And again, God sacrificed his son, he gave up control, and he gave his time. And we can all give up time for somebody that we love. That's how we really show that we love that person. So that's the end of the word study for the Advent series. Again, about hope, peace, joy, and today, final one is love. And we'll have a sort of a Christmas story to go Sunday because it's Sunday before Christmas. But that's the end of our Advent series. Again, Bible Project video on love. You can find that. Just search on their Bible Project website or YouTube. And again, you can find all 4 of our lessons on our YouTube channel as well, where you're watching this right now. And we'll be on Zoom at 6:45. You should have invitations and links for all of that. So we'll see you on Zoom. If not, we hope to see you on Sunday. Have a good one.